Hi, this is Michael P. Coleman, Content Director for Brother Be Well. Thanking you for checking out this series, this trauma and healing series brought to you by Blue Shield of California's Blue Sky Initiative. Our physical response to trauma can have a very direct impact, I've learned, on our adrenal glands, affecting those hormones, and most critically, causing our bodies to increase production of adrenaline, cortisol, oxytocin. What can you talk about what the increased production of an excess amount of those hormones? And let me just say, typically, those are great hormones. Those are good things. We all need them. They serve a useful purpose. But when we're increasing too much of them over too long a period of time, that can really set up shop in a way in our bodies that's not helpful and not healthy. Can you talk about that a little bit, Christian?
Sure. I just, as we talked about before, what the brain is doing, right? The brain is constantly in a repair mode. It's constantly in a self-soothing mode. So a lot of these conditions occur, overexposure from cortisol, overexposure from oxytocin. As you said, a lot of these conditions are happening because the brain is trying to soothe. So, anytime there's a imbalance of chemicals being released, that is a domino effect. It's going to eventually affect something else. So, some of those increased hormones can really, cause levels of anxiety and depression. Depression, I speak of that one because when you have oxytocin, that's a feel good hormone, but too much of that can really your body is going to change its baseline. So your brain is going to say, okay, well, since it's releasing this much feel good, I'm going to change our baseline is going to stay here now. So you need more of that oxytocin to keep your baseline going. So that's what happens in that term. There's a term called anhedonia, and anhedonia occurs basically when the brain can no longer feel pleasure of things. So this happens. This is very common in individuals who are going through opiate abuse. So that opiate overexposure to opiates to the brain causes anhedonia, where you don't find any pleasure in doing anything, which can lead to depression because your brain has tried to meet that baseline. The more pills you take, the baseline goes up, and eventually there is no level of feeling good. You have a baseline of a stagnancy, which is called anhedonia. Also, we talked about the muscle tension and the pain and things of that sort. These are some of the side effects, and also sleep problems. Those hormones are some of those hormones are used to help you sleep, and also overexposure to some of the hormones such as cortisol can create weight gain as well. Can develop weight gain in the body, and also that memory and concentration impairment that we talked about. So as you see, there's a balance that needs to occur, and when that brain, those chemicals are out of balance, it will impact other things in your body as well.
Really, it's a lot to consider and a lot to process. And as we've talked about, Christian, it's a lot to talk to our doctors about. Would you agree? There's a lot going on there,
Absolutely.
and we've got to have those conversations with those primary care physicians or primary medical care folks. So appreciate you walking us through that. As we get ready to wrap this one up, Christian, via your work as a marriage and family therapist, you've undoubtedly treated many, many victims of trauma. I'm wondering what your recommended methods for healing are for healing from trauma so that someone watching, someone listening can avoid, if we know we've got the information, so we know what's down the road if we don't pay attention to it. Someone's watching, somebody's listening who's ready to make some changes. What are some of your recommendations for healing from trauma and avoiding some of the things we've talked about?
Well, I think, Michael, that's a good question because we have to think about, we have to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, right? So I'm thinking it's really important to meet that person where they are. You know, you don't want to throw in the beginning. You may not want to throw them, oh, go to therapy, or you may not want to throw that to them, immediately. You want to kind of fill out where they are, or fill yourself out where you are. Because medication could be, there could be stigma around medication and going to a hospital or seeing a therapist. So really, it's meeting yourself or meeting that person where they are, and then providing and learning and learn that provide that psychoeducation. What is trauma? Some of the things we went over, and then really doing a self reflection of yourself to really think about, what are some things that happened in my life that may have caused trauma. Was I hit by a belt, from my parents? Did my parents go in the backyard and get an extension cord off the tree? I mean, extension cord from the room, or a switch off the tree. That Here we go. Some of the school systems in the 80s may have induced a little bit of trauma because some schools were allowed to paddle you and reprimand you through a paddle and whoop you. So we have to think about doing some of our homework and seeing where some of that trauma could have come from, which is going to help that professional when you are ready to go get help. You can give them some of that background because they're going to try and dig that out of you. But if you can provide that, that's going to save a lot of time and a lot of that self-discovery in that process. And really that other component of looking at that is really seeing how other individuals could help you through your process. Studies show that working with other individuals who have been through similar issues than you can be very helpful. So that may be healing groups, healing circles, safe spaces to talk about it. Group therapy is another way to do that as well. So these are some areas of how someone could really work on treating that and healing that trauma.
I really appreciate you walking us through that, Christian. I especially today appreciate you talking about being in school in the 80s. So for some of us who were in school a little before that one, I can say with all certainty that we have inadvertently traumatized some people because of what the norms were with regard to discipline. So now we know a little better. We're doing a little better. And I appreciate the thoughtfulness in which you gave us that answer and all of them. Christian Jacobs, while I'm at it, let me just thank you right now for your time today to talk about the physical impacts of trauma with the Brother Be Well family. Appreciate it as always, sir.
Michael, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
We'll see you again soon.
Okay, take care.
You too. And I want to thank you for watching or listening to this particular podcast. If you've been intrigued at all, you can check out more in this trauma and healing series brought to you by our friends at Blue Shield of California, specifically their Blue Sky initiative. You can read all about it at bluesky.blueshieldca.com. That's bluesky.blueshieldca.com. Read all about that incredible program of Blue Shield of California's. Another website I want you to remember, brotherbewell.com. That one is ours. If you like this particular podcast, you want to take a look or listen to others in the series, that's where you can go for those, as well as any one of a number of videos, podcasts, print pieces, all designed to help you on that mental health journey. Check it all out at brotherbewell.com. There's opportunities to come on board and become a member of Brother Be Well. If you can do that, we certainly appreciate it. If you can give us your email address, you can sign up for our blog right away and you'll start to get updates in your email box. Check it all out at brotherbewell.com. My name again, Michael P. Coleman, Content Director for Brother Be Well, encouraging you, thanking you first for being here. And I'm telling you right now, I'm looking forward to next time I get to talk to you already. I want to encourage you to do two quick things for me. Take great care of yourself. And then when you get it down, take great care of somebody else if you would. Till next time, bye-bye.